The chief executive of a housing organization has been removed with immediate effect after a 2-year-old boy died from exposure to mold. Earlier this week, an inquest into the death of Awaab Ishak found he died in December 2020 from a respiratory condition caused by mold in the one-bedroom housing association flat where he lived with his parents, Faisal, Abdullah and Aisha Amin, in Rochdale, Greater Manchester. Gareth Swarbrick, chief executive of Rochdale Boroughwide Housing, initially refused to resign from his position after it was revealed the organization ignored over 600 complaints regarding damp and black mold while he was in charge. Yet despite claiming to have the full support of the board less than 24 hours earlier, today Mr Swarbrick has been forcibly removed from his position after Rochdale Boroughwide Housing claimed it was no longer tenable for him to stay on. In a statement, Rochdale Boroughwide Housing said, "The board has taken the decision to remove Gareth Swarbrick from his post as chief executive of RBH with immediate effect. We will now work to appoint an external interim chief executive. Our original instincts were for Gareth to stay on to see the organization through this difficult period and to make the necessary changes, but we all recognize that this is no longer tenable." The coroner noted that Rochdale Boroughwide Housing had made changes as a result of the tragic death of Awaab. Under new leadership, RBH will continue to embed these changes and to continue to drive further improvements to our homes and to our communications with tenants. Mr Swarbrick became the subject of an intense public backlash after it was revealed he collected a salary of over £185,000 while forcing his tenants to live in inhumane conditions. During the inquest in Awaab's death, Coroner Joanne Kearsley told the court that when his father Faisal Abdullah reported the mold issue back in 2017, he was told by management to simply paint over it. Ms. Kearsley said the toddler's death should be a defining moment for the housing sector, and Number 10 called the circumstances in which the youngster died as unacceptable. Following an investigation by the Manchester Evening News, Mr Swarbrick's role in facilitating the conditions which led to young Awaab's death soon became a matter of national scrutiny, leading to him facing calls to resign from both Labour and Conservative MPs. When news of the scandal first broke, Housing Secretary Michael Gove said it beggars belief that Mr Swarbrick was allowed to remain in his post. Alison Tumilty, RBH's board chair, admitted mistakes had been made and they had let down Awaab's parents Faisal and Aisha. He found an unlikely ally in veteran Labour MP Diane Abbott, who tweeted on Wednesday that in the end cuts and failure to strengthen the law is responsible for Awaab Ishak dying from mold. But Michael Gove is right about one thing. CEO of the Housing Association, Gareth Swarbrick, should resign. Following news of his resignation, a government source said the sacking of Gareth Swarbrick as chief executive of Rochdale Boroughwide Housing was welcome, but the board still had questions to answer. The source said, "It is welcome that Gareth Swarbrick has been removed for his profound failings as RBH CEO, but RBH and their board still have very serious questions to answer. Why did they give him their full backing after the coroner's report and as recently as 24 hours ago? And why have they failed to answer basic questions about the state of their housing stock?" The Secretary of State for Levelling Up will continue to take a very close interest in RBH and will stand up for tenants as necessary. Members of the public have vented their anger. Chris Ardern said, "Waiting for the right time, in other words, he gets the opportunity to leave without causing a fuss and probably gets 3 years' pay as a golden handshake 3 times £185,000. If he resigned he wouldn't have been given half that. Well, there goes the paint budget for the next 5 years." And Jason H. said, "Not good enough. He should be in court at 9 a.m. on Monday morning and on his way to prison for the next 10 years by midday. He is responsible for a child's death. Our sincere condolences and sympathies go out to the family and loved ones of Awaab Ishak."